Hello, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're here for the first time. Thought today, seeing as we've got 3 interesting series coming up, Wales, Australia, South Africa, Ireland, New Zealand, England, I don't know too much about what the Wales team is going to look like, but I thought I would do a video on both the Ireland team that I think that should start, and later, I think next week, I'll do a video on the England team that should start. So, without further ado, let's get straight into this video. So, this is the team that I think that should be selected through from 1 to 15. I haven't gone as far as the bench because I don't know the Irish squad as well as I know the English squad. We'll get to certain positions that I'm not 100% sure and I'd love your feedback on. For the pack, I think 1 through 8 is no surprises really for the squad that's been picked. Porter, Sheehan, Furlong, McCarthy, Tadhg Beirne, Omani, Josh van der Flier, Caelan Doris. I mean, these are pretty much your first names on the team sheet, stalwarts in there, all of them world-class players. They're either 8, 9 or 10 out of 10 in terms of their ranking in the world for me personally. So I don't think there's a whole lot of questions here in the squad that's been picked. I think it's fairly obvious that this is your 8. So, I mean, we won't spend too much time on the pack. So, going off to number 9, as you can see, I've picked Craig Casey. Obviously, Gibson Park is injured for the series now. Sorry, just moving my setup around a little bit. Yes, Gibson Park is injured for the series. He will not be there. For me, this could be for Ireland a bit of a blessing in disguise. A blessing in disguise. Why is that? Well, Craig Casey, he is the scrum half for Munster. I think he's been really good from what I've seen him. I haven't watched a huge amount of URC. I have watched some of Munster's games in the URC. I've also watched them play within the Champions Cup. And Craig Casey is a real bright spark. I mean, he's lightning quick. His decision-making's really quick. His ball placement and his passing, he gets that right on the receiver's hands, leading them in to enable quick ball to carry on. With this as well, I think with my 10 selection with Crowley, they both play for Munster. There's that chemistry there, playing for the same club. I think this will help both of them. Not that Crowley needs too much help. I think he had an excellent Six Nations stepping into that 10 shirt and owning it for himself. But yeah, as I was saying, maybe a blessing in disguise for Ireland to really test someone at the next scrum half. Gibson Park is getting on there in years a little bit now. He's now 32. And Craig Casey, he could be the next guy to come in for Ireland. It could be a nice kind of settling in for him, considering there are a lot of other stalwarts within the team. Just a little bit of changes here and there. It's the best way to bring in new talent, I think. Sometimes you're forced to make full-on overhauls of teams and all the young guys have to come in, as we saw with Wales in the Six Nations recently. That can sometimes go really well, or it can go quite disastrously. So this is a good opportunity to bring in somebody that has played very well for their club and has the opportunity to start with the rest of the superstars around him and also have a fly half outside of him that he plays with regularly at club level. So really excited to see what Craig Casey can do if he gets picked at 9. My assumption is that he would. I think the only other option they're bringing in is another 30-year-old scrum half. So why not use this as an opportunity to try and encourage a new player into the squad? So Jack Crowley at 10, as I've already been talking about, I think there's no surprises here. He's definitely the in-form 10 for Ireland at the moment. I think I made a video a few months ago about who's going to be the next Ireland 10 pre-Six Nations. Ross Byrne was probably in the mix for there as well. Paddy Jackson was an honourable mention, but obviously he's out for obvious reasons. So yeah, Crowley, he's really made that 10 shirt his own. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do at 10 against South Africa, because it will be a slightly different test, I think, than against anyone in the Six Nations. This is going to be a very physical, tough test. So good to see Crowley and see how he reacts to that. I'll get to the wingers in a little bit, as there's probably a little bit of controversy in those selections. I've gone for Bundee Aki at 12 and Henshaw at 13. The non-inclusion of Ringrose is on purpose. I expect Ringrose to be on the bench. I know that Ringrose came back for the URC semi-final, back from injury. Was he rushed back a little bit too soon? Don't know about that. He looked okay, but from my perspective, I think Henshaw's being great at 13 during the Six Nations with Aki. Why ruin a good thing? I think that combination of those two together was really good. And especially with Ringrose coming back from injury, why rush him in, especially against such a physical side such as South Africa? Stick with what was working before, then bring on Ringrose at like 60 minutes unless Aki and Henshaw are both having an absolute stormer of games. And yeah, I'm always a fan of slowly bringing in players and not just starting them straight off the off when they come back from injury. I know he's come back for one game. However, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about that selection in the comments. So let's get to the wingers. So Stockdale at 11. So this is maybe a bit more of a controversial decision. Maybe it's not. Maybe you guys agree with me. Maybe you don't. Let me know. But I think Jacob Stockdale is a bit of a blast from the past. He had an absolute firecracker start to his career, both for Ireland and Ulster. I think he then had injury troubles and he kind of didn't fall out of favour, but there were Irish players that came into the wing that just, you know, they were very difficult to get out of that position because they were playing so well, like Mac Hansen and James Lowe, who was originally playing in that 11 shirt, I believe. Stockdale, why am I picking him? One, there's a physicality element to this. You're playing South Africa, a very physical team. I think putting him on instead of Calvin Nash is, for me, a conscious choice to have a very physical player. Explosive, will stretch the field, which is really key against the South African defence. You want people that are both powerful and also quick on the outside to keep that line spread as thin as possible. He's had 9 tries this year. In the URC, he's also been 2nd in clean breaks and 4th in metres gained. So he's had a pretty good season. This is a good time to bring him back into the squad, especially as he's been included in the squad. It tells me at the age of 28, you know, he's not someone that you're bringing in because, you know, you're trying to develop him. This is someone that you trust at that age to come in and perform straight away. So why not go for it? A bit more of a big physical guy than Nash. And then move Lowe over to the right wing. There's obviously the question of how acclimatized can James Lowe move to that right wing position. For me personally, I think there is the element of his left boot. If he's on the right wing, maybe that's actually a better advantage. It means that he's kicking with a better angle from his left to the right. That just could be me though. Maybe that's just talking out my bum, but I think that's probably a legitimate reason of why testing him out at right wing and having Stockdale take his more natural left wing. And then we come to fullbacks. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm looking within this Ireland squad, and for me, I see some fullbacks there. Hugo Ciarán is obviously not within the squad. He's going to be playing in the 7th squad for Ireland within the Olympics, so that's great for him. However, this leaves Ireland in a bit of a position where they don't have someone who's started a lot of international experience at fullback. So for me personally, I think I would start Frawley. I think he came on for Leinster at fullback in key situations and looked good. There was a couple of points within the semi-final of the URC. No, it wasn't the semi-final of the Champions Cup where he struggled under the high ball, but I think if you watched that beforehand, it came from him being knocked on the head and not coming off for a HIA. Controversy in that. Let's not talk about that too much. The reality of what I'm trying to say is Frawley, I would like to see tested in that 15 shirt. But for me personally, I would like you to tell me who you would be playing at that 15 shirt and why. I'm looking in within the squad, and as I said, there's no one who's been the regular starter at fullback there for Ireland for me, and there's probably someone that I'm missing within that squad that's really been playing well for their club, and I'd like for you to tell me who it is, who to expect there, how do you think they're going to be playing. The only thing with Frawley back there and with all the other guys that they could be selecting at fullback from what I could see is that I think against South Africa, you want someone who's incredibly safe under the high ball. You want someone who's a bit larger and physical, like Freddie Stewart for England. Basically, that feels like the best way to beat South Africa, playing someone like that at fullback. So I don't really see a whole lot of that. For me, Frawley feels the closest to that as possible, but the physicality maybe isn't quite there. I don't know. All in all, how do I feel about this team? I think the pack is going to be leaned on, I think, quite heavily and quite rightly. I mean, they've got a huge amount of talent in there, but there's no reason that those forwards can't create some space out to the outside for this really talented back line. Especially, I really want to see Stockdale back in this squad. I think he was sensational when he first started coming playing for Ireland. I'm really unfortunate for him. He's one of my favourite players to watch myself. So I'm hoping he gets back into the squad and he's starting. And I think he could be the perfect winger for Ireland to hopefully win this series against South Africa. So that's it. Not too long. Not going to go over the points too much past this point. That doesn't even make sense as a sentence. Let me know what you think in the comments. Welcome to the discussion. And yeah, as I said, England team front 15, I will be presenting next week. for their test against New Zealand. Cheers for tuning in.